Hello, I'm Gemma from EFRAG and welcome to the introduction of the draft ESRS 2. During this introduction, I will take you through the architecture and key disclosure requirements of this draft standard. Indeed, ESRS 2 is a pivotal piece of the ESRS system and one of the two cross-cutting standards together with draft ESRS 1 general requirements, as they sit above sector agnostic and sector specific and cover E, S, and G sustainability matters. The relationship between cross-cutting and topical standards is critical for understanding the ESRS system and ultimately to ensure that the sustainability statements provide relevant and understandable information. Let me briefly touch upon the key aspects of the draft standard. Since the April ED, this draft has been adapted to the four-pillar TCFD ISSB structure to ensure convergence. Therefore, we have four reporting areas that include the double materiality lens. Hence, we don't have risk management, but impact, risk, and opportunity management instead. And consequently, all topical standards follow the same four-pillar approach in terms of structure and content. The second aspect that I want to highlight is the double materiality assessment. This draft details the disclosures to be provided by the undertaking in relation to the process itself and its outcome. Given that the materiality assessment is core to the application of the ESRSs, this is the starting point for both preparers and users. As mentioned previously, the relationship between ESRS 2 and topical standards is also defined in this draft. And thirdly, the minimal disclosures for policies, actions, and targets that shall be disclosed for all material impacts, risks, and opportunities in the topical standards is also covered. And moving on to the disclosure requirements, we will start with the first two blocks. Firstly, the basis for preparation that consists of two disclosure requirements. The first one, being BP1, is to be disclosed for all undertakings. It's in relation to the scope of its sustainability statements, consolidated, individual, for example. And the second one, BP2, applies when a specific circumstances have taken place in the undertaking during that year. For example, estimations have been used for the preparation of the sustainability statements. Secondly, we have the reporting pillar governance, where the disclosures cover aspects such as the composition and the role and responsibilities of the administrative, management, and supervisory bodies, and others like the integration of sustainability-related incentives schemes in the undertaking remuneration policies. Due diligence or mapping is also included here, and also the internal control systems related to sustainability matters. Let's continue with the strategy reporting pillar that we could see on the left-hand side. This includes core disclosures regarding the output of the materiality assessment, together with business type information such as sectors where the undertaking operates, business model, or how it accounts for the views and interests of stakeholders, which is a key principle in due diligence. Hence, emphasis should be placed on SVM3 by both preparers and users. This disclosure requirement has also been aligned with IFRS S1 exposure draft for financial materiality and financial effects, and GRI for impact materiality. The next reporting pillar that we have is impact, risk, and opportunity management. The disclosures are focused on the process of materiality assessment and the list of which disclosure requirements are material for the undertaking, and therefore have been complied with by the undertaking. And it also touches upon the disclosure contents, which I'll mention briefly. The final reporting pillar is metrics and targets, and it contains two disclosure contents. So let me spend a minute now on the concept of disclosure contents and how it applies at topical standards, and in the future, sector-specific ones. In order to ensure comparable information across undertakings and a standardization of content of the sustainability statements, the ESRS 2 includes minimum disclosure requirements that have been developed for and targets. So how do we, as an undertaking, apply them? Let me give you an example. Undertaking A operates in the extractive sector, and pollution of soil has been identified as a material from the materiality assessment. In that case, the undertaking shall disclose policies, actions, and targets in relation to the management of pollution of oil. The content of the disclosures and information of the policy disclosure will have to be compliant with these disclosure concept policies. But also, because we are talking about a pollution matter, we have to look at ESRS E2. Hence, it could be the case that in ESRS E2, there's other additional data points to be included on the policies. Let's assume now, as it says in the asterisk here, that the company cannot disclose the information on policies because it has not adopted a policy. In that case, the undertaking shall disclose that to be the case. Therefore, in ESRS 2, we have centralized the minimum disclosure requirements for policies, targets, and actions, which are three key aspects of our architecture. But in terms of the presentation of this information by the undertaking, this will be presented alongside the topical standard. In this case, for this example of company A, that would be within pollution. And finally, last but not least, let me share as well the appendices. All of these appendices form an integral part of the standard. I would like to highlight Appendix C, D, and E, which is a central list of data points that are not subject to the materiality assessment because they are either emanating from EU legislation, such as SFDR or Pillar 3, or because they are actually a specification of ESRS 2 in the topical standards. This is actually quite helpful and could be used as a navigation tool. Thanks for watching. There's a further in-depth video for draft ESRS 2 and also material in our website. Enjoy your next ESRS chapter.